Welcome back to some business news now. And engineers won the public-private partnership policy reviewed to ring-fence the participation of graduate engineers in all mega infrastructure projects. The Institutions of Engineers of Kenya President Shammah Kiteme says excluding young engineers from flagship national projects is worsening unemployment and weakening Kenya's long-term engineering capacity. Regina Manyara with the details.
Good afternoon to you, Dorina. To you live from Mombasa. This is Pride In, and this is, where we're going to be having, or rather where we are having a week-long engagement, not only with the engineering fraternity, but also members of industry and academia who are in this particular value chain. The IEK Convention is tuned towards the roadmap, or rather creating a roadmap for future engineering driven by technology, looking at emerging issues such as climate change. But to further put this into perspective, being day one of this particular convention, I'm joined by none other than the president of IEK, that is Engineer Shammah Kiteme, as well as the chairperson of Future Leaders. Karibu sana. So it is day one, Bwana President, and you've already given your feed in regard to what you think the roadmap is. Maybe you can give us just a quick role that the young engineers are expected to play in the futuristic Kenya in this particular niche.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. We are here in Pride in Paradise. We started our 32nd IEK International Convention with Future Leaders Summit. Now, the future to the young. And so the young engineers have taken to look at how the future will be and their critical role. We have to take our role and our place in the infrastructure space because we need this. Kenya needs to invest aggressively in manufacturing, industrialization. We need to invest aggressively to make sure that we transform our agriculture. Is a space that we have agricultural engineers, we have water engineers who are looking forward to having dams, having water pans to make sure that we embed technology in agriculture. Now, this is critical because we need to address the problems that this country faces, and the conversations we are having right here in Mombasa is to make sure that engineers play the critical role to transform this country. We address the problems that our nation faces.
All right. There's been conversation around wanting to ring fence the partnership model to have it also consider the participation of graduate engineers so that they can get the practical skills and scale up, to regard to that particular proposal.
This is a very critical element. We have PPP projects being rolled out in this country, an innovative financing model to make sure that we realize infrastructure. Young engineers should have an opportunity to learn, be involved in infrastructure projects, because then we are preparing them to be the experts of the future. We do not want to have infrastructure where we do not have local capacity to continue sustaining it when it is done. And therefore, involvement of young engineers is critical because then we make them have the experience, know-how, to be able to maintain the infrastructure which is complete and done. We are seeing a lot of infrastructure projects the government is rolling out, and we're excited about this because this is opportunities for engineers. But young engineers have to be involved so that they are part of implementing the infrastructure and they are not mere spectators.
Now let's hear from those who are in this particular space. Engineer Ingaza, you are leading Future Leaders in Engineers. From where you sit, what is the main priority gap of having young engineers actually take part fully in this particular value chain?
So far, we do have, we can't say that we do have a priority gap, but since we do have the young engineers from the school, we start from the primary school because now we are taking on the STEM, and then we go to the high schools and then to the university. So, and the disciplines, as you said, we have a civil, we do have mechanical, we do have electrical, and so far the disciplines are growing. It's been concerned, the field of engineering is too wide, and we have now the gap in terms of now being the engineer and being creative and being the innovative, so that they can be entrepreneur by themselves and come and create so much job and also not prioritizing only now being employed, but also having more work as an engineer, as an entrepreneur.
A push and drive to focus as entrepreneurship and manufacturing for engineers. Now the big question is, we're seeing there are very female engineers in this particular value chain. As a future leader from where you sit, what do you think needs to be done to narrow the gap?
One of the things that we really want to do, or we are doing it, is and we take mentorship to the girls' schools. And be that girls' schools, remember this is the initiative that we've started early. So far, now the young girls really wants to come in and have to be a technical, and most of them do have interest in the technical field. So these are the things that we've been doing from now the high schools, making sure that we are reaching out to the young girls, telling them about the field of engineering, and also through now that university also try at least to mentor them in terms of knowing that they are supposed to be leaders, the leaders, young leaders, girls. That is, yeah.
Very well said. That's just but a quick summary of day one of this particular convention. It is the 32nd IEK Convention here, and engineering for the future, the roadmap for Kenya. Stakeholders here include not only engineers, but also members of industry and government representatives. And going forward, it is the issues that they are looking at is to have the full inclusion, especially of budding young graduate engineers take part in projects that we are having in the country. We'll continue keeping tabs on this particular convention. So from Mombasa, I hand it over to you.